For me, I'm going to do ethics because ethics is easy. You're going to find their accounting issues, and so you must challenge them. And that's when you'll be able to raise out the ethical issues. When it comes to ethics, we said you first provide a statement that gives the mandate of protecting the interests of the users of these financial statements to accountants, not so? And even if you're a student or a qualified accountant, it is your duty. So long as you have that responsibility to prepare these financial statements, it is your duty to prepare information that would be useful to the users. And information is going to be useful if it is free from errors, not biased, no personal interests, etc. Key to note under ethics, of course, we shall also look at the first part, which we've discussed I think for the past 2 days or few days. So when it comes to ethics, we agreed that there are questions that would include you discussing the accounting treatment, and there are those that will require you to just to explain the ethical principles. Now, like this part B, everything within part B in scenario 2, we've not yet looked at it, right? Implying that we've not discussed the accounting treatment in part A for this scenario. Is that correct, Elizabeth?
Yes.
So what you must do is to first explain the accounting principles, what has been breached. Then after discussing what has been breached, you can go ahead and give us the principles breached. Is it integrity? Is it professional competence? Is it professional behavior? And due care? What else is the other principle? Is it objectivity you get? You explain those. After giving us the principles breached, you give us the threats. Is it self-interest? Is it familiarity? What else are the threats? Safi. Self-interest? Intimidation?
Self-review.
Intimidation, self-review, familiarity. Then we use Safi. S is the first S is for self-review. Second S, self-interest. A,
Advocacy.
advocacy. F,
Familiarity.
familiarity. I, intimidation. Intimidation also. Then
Yes.
after giving us the threats, discuss for us the actions. In most questions, the examiner won't tell you this. Won't give you the what? Won't ask you for the actions. But inherently, you should discuss the what? The actions. So we've agreed for such a question, we need to have the accounting treatment breached, we need to identify the ethical principles in question. Kevin, what follows?
Threats to independence.
Yes, the threats to the officer in question. Then number 4, you give us actions, or we call them safeguards. But now here these guys have called them actions. But I've told you there's always that free mark of what? Of a general opening what? Opening remark that speaks to the duty of the accountant. Kavina what pa?
Yes, please.
Yes, once you follow this order for sure, the examiner will be able to give you the marks. Now I want to take you through that process. Number 4, then number 5. That process. Okay, so can we, I think we all know the first general statement. Elizabeth, do you know that statement I've made?
No.
You don't know the statement we said, we agreed? First I'm just, okay, I will say here, this is our part B, ethical issues. You must always write, especially for question 2 and question 4, you must really have these subheadings. Ethical issues. Then we say that, control U, control B, it is the duty of the accountant to protect the interests of the users of financial statements by providing useful information therein. This can be achieved by adhering to the SCA ethical code of conduct. That is even enough. Then we come to number 2 is accounting treatment breached. So, can we all use 3 minutes? Okay, I said this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 minutes to identify which accounting standards have been breached in this scenario. So you should be able to at least give me one accounting standard by 8:52. So you can start now. Read through, identify something from the accounting side. Okay, I think that is done. Whom should I start with? Which accounting issue have you identified?
Maybe just to try out, Ivan.
Hmm.
I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing. I don't know if I've rushed, but in the third paragraph,
Hmm.
the board has told Miss Hayes that a going concern assessment is not required.
Hmm.
However, my understanding or little accounting I have is
Hmm.
that account financial statements should be prepared on a going concern basis
Hmm.
as per IFRS 18, if I'm not mistaken.
Perfect. That is a very good spot on. Who else had seen that? Who else had seen that? Hmm?
I had seen, but I didn't think it was.
An accounting issue.
Yes.
Because when you read first paragraph, no accounting issue they are talking about, right? Just common sense. Second paragraph, nothing. It is specifically this going concern. So can we all open IFRS 18? I'm sure you guys have the new study texts, right? Can you access them? IFRS 18 going concern. Kevin, are you able to open it?
I'm trying to look on my device.
Yes, please, you get it. Because now someone who understood IFRS 18, but also IAS 1 that was replaced, it also talked about going concern, right? Let me also check it out here so that we can run through it and understand. Of course, we know that it requires entities to confirm or to assess that they can continue in the next what? 12 months. Not so? And so that is the accounting. Of course, like enough, the question says, discuss the ethical issues raised by the scenario and actions that Miss Hayes should take. Meaning that all the discussion should be focused on Miss Hayes. Let me open it here. But if you have it, you can please tell us. You can read for us what it talks about. Going concern. Compute going concern. Because it's what we have to state. Hmm. Here I am. Yes. For me, I've been able to find it. Okay. So when we check here, the board has told is not required, and that she is to make no reference to any financial difficulties in base financial statements. You see here? But when we get to our it has not highlighted. Let me get it here. Let me just, why is it? Wow. Okay. I know this can happen even in the exam when this thing fails to highlight. Kevin, have you been able to see going concern? Have you opened the text? I want to read for you.
I'm seeing, but there are several pages talking about
Okay.
it.
When you go to page 6. Okay?
Okay,
When you go to page
6.
6, this one speaks to conceptual framework. Not so?
Yeah.
This speaks to conceptual framework, but I wanted the one on IFRS 18. Okay. Let me check here. Yes. Okay. So here we can say, according to, because it says entities should make explicit and unreserved statement that their financial statements comply with IFRS accounting what? Accounting standards, right? Then here we go. IAS 8 states that management should assess whether the going concern assumption is appropriate. Management should consider all available information about events within at least 12 months of the end of the reporting period. But there's one that I think speaks to financial statements are prepared on the assumption that the entity is a going concern. This means that it will continue to operate for the foreseeable future. If this assumption is not accurate, then the financial statement should be prepared on a different basis. Okay, I'll go to this. Then I would say, let me check. Okay, in fact, we should use IAS 8, where we should say, I would say according to IFRS 18, according to IFRS 18, okay, an entity should prepare its financial statements on a going concern basis. Furthermore, IAS 8, because it's an accounting standard, requires that an entity should assess whether the going concern assumption is appropriate. I'm reading this from page 70 of the study text. Is appropriate. In fact, here we can even say, according to IFRS 18, an entity should prepare its financial statements on a going concern basis, and should make a statement of compliance in the financial statements. Why have I added this? Because the FD is saying, make sure that we don't make any what? We make no reference to any financial difficulties in Byfloat's financial statements. Okay, so after giving this, you can even go ahead and give what are the indicators of going concern challenges. Based on the study text, they are telling us that indicators include lack of cash and cash equivalents. Lack of cash and cash equivalents. Now these guys are going to borrow. Do they have the money? Then 2, increase the levels of overdrafts and other forms of short-term borrowings. We've seen something about overdrafts. Have you seen it?
Yes.
H is concerned that B will face a cash flow shortage. It's even here, within 12 months of the reporting date. That was the first issue, lack of cash. This is dependent on the club's future performance, its ability to negotiate its overdraft facility, and the company's relationship with its key stakeholders. What else speaks to increase the levels of overdrafts? Do we have it somewhere? The board.
There was an overdraft somewhere in the question.
Yeah, I can see it here. Its ability to negotiate its overdraft facility.
Yeah.
But of course, since this is dependent on the performance and they're not performing well. So this is an indicator of what? Cash flow challenges, right? Please, you have to pick out these concepts very well. Let me highlight something here. Where is it? Is concerned that Bay will face a cash flow shortage within 12 months of its reporting date. We can highlight this so that we can put it in our, so we can say in our state, according to IAS 8, okay, lack of what? Lack of cash and cash equivalents you can even mention only like one or two. Okay, lack of cash and cash equivalents, then two, and increased levels of overdrafts are indicators of going concern challenges. Of going concern what? Challenges. Then you stop there. You don't have to write so much. These are only 10 marks. What does it mean? For you to be able to identify these points, you must be good with IFRS 18. You must also be good with IAS what? IAS 8. Is that okay, students?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the next part for us to do? To identify what? The ethical principles in question, right?
Yes.
Can we use still 4 minutes to identify? Now this time around I should pick out from each one of you. Can we use 4 minutes to pick out the ethical principles? In fact, we can do this. You pick out ethical principles and the threats at once, not so? Pick out ethical principles and the threats at once. So when I call your name, you just tell me which principle and threat you've identified. Just pick out one at least. So by 9:9 we should be having answers.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start with Lillian. Do I have someone called Lillian on the call? I think she left. Yes, Elizabeth. Anything
Yes.
identified?
There is some intimidation from the FD.
Yes. Good. So you're saying amongst the threats you've seen intimidation. Intimidation. Which paragraph?
Paragraph 2.
Paragraph.
2.
Paragraph 2. Okay. Remember, we agreed that intimidation can be direct or indirect. Not so? What we
Yeah.
call perceived and actual intimidation. So which one do we have here?
Perceived.
She reports to the finance director. Okay. Under pressure from the FD. Is this perceived or it is actual? Is it perceived or it is actual? Because they've told us there is pressure already. Not so. Because it is perceived, it would have been perceived if they are not told us she's under pressure from the FD. By this time around, they have told her, make sure that you provide an analysis that is convenient. Okay. Is aware under pressure from the FD is aware from the recent reports. Okay, this is okay. I don't yet been sent to the bank. Okay. What else have you identified, Elizabeth? Any principle?
Integrity.
Principle of integrity. And where is it?
Paragraph 3.
Paragraph 3.
Is it 3?
Uh-huh. Of course.
Miss H is concerned that they will face a cash flow shortage, meaning she's willing to she's willing to present a wrong report because she's afraid the cash flow shortage will.
Yes, but for me, I think this second one brings it out very well. Miss Hayes has produced an optimistic analysis indicating that the 50 million investment will be worthwhile and will achieve the board's objectives. What is covered under the principle of integrity? Anyone who can tell me what is covered under the principle of integrity?
Integrity should be honest and
You
honest.
should be honest and straightforward, not so?
Yes, yeah.
Now,
Honest and straightforward.
if someone is preparing wrong reports, are they honest?
No.
And yet she's even aware that from recent press reports that similar football teams have had what? To spend significantly more than 50 million, this one here, to achieve similar results. You see this? So can also come and put it here. The issue of drafting the answer will come later, but just first identify the issues and then which paragraphs are going to be applicable to those issues. Okay, we've heard from Elizabeth, intimidation, integrity, and of course there are these. Okay, Kevin, any issue?
The first issue I've noted is objectivity is not being met.
Okay.
Because the paragraph that is having that optimistic phrase, other firms have achieved their target more than 50 million, but for them they're optimistic. In other words, they're not sure of the figure. So in my senses, they are not objective. It's just an assumption, I may say.
Remember, it is from the angle of Miss H, right?
Yes.
So, what does the principle of objectivity talk about?
Objectivity.
Someone is objective if they focus on the facts, right? I
Yes,
think you're
yes.
right. We can also use this same statement to explain the principle of what? Of objectivity. That she's having sufficient information, but has gone ahead to do what? To prepare an analysis that would meet the requirements of the FD, not so. So she's
Yes.
not using the facts. Okay, so we can use the same para. I think we have sufficient principles. Which threat have you identified?
I've seen a threat of familiarity whereby the last paragraph is saying most members of the Byfloat board, including the finance director, are ex-professional football players. Mrs. Hayes has never played football professionally and believes that as a result the board does not respect.
Her opinion. What does familiarity talk about? Familiarity is when you've worked for so long with someone, not
Yes,
so,
yes.
but she has just joined them with just 9 months temporary contract. Do you think she has really gained the familiarity issue?
No, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I could bring in
Yes, I see Lillian is back. Lillian,
self-review.
self-review. What is self-review? What does it talk about? Self-review.
It does not come in to the nature of the business we are analyzing.
It says yes, self-review. It's like you've prepared and then she has prepared
Yes.
the analysis and she's reviewing it. It is not there. There is one that is very direct.
Self-interest.
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 Yeah, self-interest.
Self what?
Interest.
Which paragraph gives us self-interest?
Two.
Again, the last paragraph.
Last paragraph. How? How is she interested in the work? How is this causing her to be interested? Maybe the last paragraph would speak to professional competence, yeah? Since she has never played, right?
Sure.
But that is also far-fetched. Which paragraph, Elizabeth, which paragraph talks about self-interest?
Paragraph 2.
Paragraph 2. You see? She's qualified. She initially applied for a permanent position, but was appointed on 9-month temporary contract, which may be extended based on her performance. You see? So she's willing to do anything so that they can extend her contract, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we agreed you don't have to look for many points. 2 points, the easy ones: integrity, objectivity, intimidation, self-interest. Kalas. Then you can start explaining, right?
Yes.
Okay. So from the first one, now we can explain. From the first one, okay, where these guys are required to make a reference to going concern in the financial statements, right? And then we have this statement here. Have we all seen it? The board has told Hayes that a going concern assessment is not required, and that she's to make no reference to any financial difficulties in Byfloat's financial statements. This one here. Remember, ethical threats is anything that is not right, right?
Yes.
Anything that is not correct. And so, first we can put it here. But remember, I think it is Elizabeth who talked about perceived intimidation. Elizabeth, can't you also explain this? Can't this also bring out perceived intimidation?
It can.
So you can also use this to explain intimidation here. It depends on how you use the exhibit for you to explain your points. So Elizabeth, how would you bring out this issue? How can we change this statement to fit an answer that will answer going concern issue disclosure? Remember, if you just copy this and put it in your answers, you won't get any mark. I always tell you this. You must adjust the statement. Okay, Elizabeth,
Which one?
how can we use this to explain our going concern issue identified? Can you? Kevin, can you give it a shot?
Maybe I can say,
Hmm.
of course, just adding on the paragraph.
Yes.
Uh, the body's request to
Good one.
Mrs. The body's request to Mrs. Hayes not to consider the going concern in the preparation of the financial statements is not in line with is not in line with an accountant's
I'm assuming that you don't know the accounting standard, eh? But you can say
yes,
it's not in line with the requirements of IFRS 18, eh?
okay,
You get, eh?
yes,
Uh-huh.
I can
And
see.
that she is not to make, and she should not, eh? And she should not make any reference to any financial difficulties because financial statements, okay? Breaches what? Breaches her duty to what? To provide accurate and unbiased what?
Financial
Unbiased
statements.
financial statements. We agreed 2 to 3 lines. Kalas, right?
Yes.
Elizabeth, does this make sense to you? The way we've adjusted it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And that's how you're supposed to adjust the what? The statements. Okay. I'll give you a chance, Elizabeth. Can you adjust this statement to explain the principle of integrity being breached? Elizabeth, we are waiting for you.
Yes.
Hmm.
The fact that Miss H produced
Hmm. The fact that Miss
Miss
H
H
produced.
produced
Hmm.
an optimistic analysis indicating
Mm-hmm.
that the $50 million
Hmm.
investment
Hmm.
would be worthwhile
Hmm.
and and would be achieved
Hmm. And
would achieve the board's objectives.
help the board to achieve its objectives, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now we want to join it.
Reaches the principle of integrity.
Now, are you sure? Okay. What if we say yet she's what?
Aware
You see? Yet she is aware from recent what?
press
From
reports
recent reports that senior football teams have had to spend to achieve similar results. Show that shows that what? Shows that she is this what? Dishonest.
dishonest.
Kevin, what else means the integrity? Dishonest?
And straightforward.
Yes. She's dishonest and not straight
Forward.
forward. That is okay. Remember we said that I think it is in English, I think it was in year one, where they told us a verb cannot explain a verb. What is that statement? That you can't use the honest when explaining honest. Okay. Lillian, are you able to pick up something from these discussions?
Yes.
Because I think when you read the examiner reports, you
Mm.
only earn marks if you apply to the scenario, and you can only apply to the scenario if you pick what? If you pick statements from the scenario. Okay, I think I would give Lillian a chance. Lillian, no, I think it is Kevin who gave us objectivity. Kevin, can you give us an explanation for objectivity?
Objectivity, honestly, I can only explain it in my layman's understanding
And we don't want that. We want it applicable to the what?
scenario.
To the
But let me try
scenario.
to think.
Hmm.
With the objectivity, we have to be dealing with facts.
Uh-huh.
So, Byfloat and their team,
Hmm.
uh, they are just optimistic.
Remember, it is we are discussing issues to deal with who?
With Miss
Eyes.
Yes, and based on the definitions that we had in the books, we said being objective is not to be biased, not so. No
Yes.
conflict of interest, not so. Undue influence of others, right? You get it?
Yes.
But now you see here, under pressure from who? We even, I
From
think,
the FD,
we
from
even
the
cut,
finance director.
yes, we even cut it short. Let us put it here. Because that explains what? Objectivity. Not to undue influence.
Okay.
Not to allow bias, right?
Yes.
So we can say, Miss what? Miss Hayes,
Miss Hayes
uh-huh. Miss Hayes has allowed, okay, undue what? Undue influence. I'm using the words from the meaning of objectivity, undue influence and pressure from who?
From the F.
From FD to do what? To produce an optimistic analysis
Yes.
indicating that the board will be worthwhile and will achieve the board's objectives. Okay. What else do we talk about under influence? Okay. Amidst the available information, okay, that, then I remove this, excuse me, that similar football teams have had to spend, then we can remove this. Not so? Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
And what is important is for us to for sure keep on the fingertips the meaning of each of these. And if you use any of those words in your answers, you score. Because when we said it is straight what? Straightforward. What else? Honesty. So if you use if in your explanation use any of those words, then you've hit the issue of integrity. Then objectivity, we've said it speaks to not allowing biasness or not being biased. Let me use that. Not being biased. It also means conflict of what? Conflict of interest, which of course comes in if you're going to be a beneficiary of the result. Conflict of interest or undue influence. So if you use any of those words when explaining your work, you would earn a mark. Okay. Now when it comes to intimidation, we can give a chance to Lillian. Lillian, can you give us an explanation of this? Intimidation, we have this information here. We have two of them. This and that.
Okay, let me try. Okay, I can say due to the pressure from the FD.
Give me 1 second. You're saying due to
the pressure from the FD.
Due to the pressure, okay.
Yes, from the FD.
Due to the pressure from FD, okay.
Miss Hayes produced an optimistic analysis.
Okay.
Indicating that 50 million investment
Okay. Miss Hayes has allowed undue. Where are we? This. Wait. Due to the pressure from the FD, Miss Hayes has produced an optimistic analysis indicating that they will be worthwhile and will achieve the body's objectives.
Which was incorrect due to the market research. Is it according or due to the market research?
Or based.
Or based on the market.
Which is inaccurate. Based on the available
information.
I think we can just copy the wording from from the recent press reports, not so?
Yes.
From the recent reports. How about this other one? We can say additionally.
Additionally,
Okay. The board is what? The board has told Miss
the-
Hayes that a going concern is not required, and she's to make no reference to any financial what? Difficulties in
statement.
Byfloat's financial statements. Okay. Which does what? Which creates a perceived what? Intimidation.
Intimidation.
Yeah.
Intimidation to the to Miss who?
Miss
Yes.
Hayes.
Hayes. We don't have to write so much, so long as we've picked out the point, which creates perceived. Okay, someone is enjoying a cruise. All right. Of course, perceived they are picking it out, but remember, no one is going to mark your spellings, so long as they are not really so much of an issue. Okay. Now we
I
have the
have a
last one.
question.
Yes, please.
That first statement where I was given a contract
Hmm.
and it was supposed to be renewed according to performance.
Hmm.
Can't that be also intimidation?
Which one?
That point which has contract renewal according depending on the performance.
But now this is normal. Have
Mm,
you been given any? Haven't you ever received we call it probation?
yeah.
And they evaluate you after 6 months. In fact, for her, she even has 9, right? For us in
Mm,
Uganda, we have six
mm,
months. If you've performed well, they can give you the permanent contract, right?
yeah.
Isn't it expected in the field? That is expected.
Mm.
But it is not pressure. But it would create the self-interest now,
Oh, okay.
because you would be forced to work based on the requirements of your bosses for you to please
Mm.
them,
Oh, okay.
which is not pressure.
Mm.
Yes. Okay. Um, who gave us this one? Is it Kevin or Elizabeth?
Elizabeth.
Can you give us an explanation? Can we change this now into a point that can give us a mark? Elizabeth, we help you, or you are willing to try?
You help me.
Kevin, can you help us? Can you help Elizabeth?
Self-interest. Sorry.
Self-interest is to act in a way that compromises your professionalism,
Yes,
because you're going
yes,
to
yes.
benefit from the results.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But for Mrs. Hayes,
Hmm.
uh, she initially applied for a permanent position,
Hmm.
and when she was appointed for a 9 month contract,
Hmm.
they promised her that they promised him that the contract will be extended based on her performance. So based on that, her she's already being influenced to make any action that are in favor of the board,
Hmm.
other than her meeting the SCCA code of conduct.
So you can say, given that Miss Hayes has been what?
Has been promised a contract extension.
Offered a 9 month, not so,
Yes.
temporary contract, okay, with an extension, with an extension with an extension based on what? On her performance. Okay, on her performance, she is likely to circumvent, or which word can we use that is easy? She's likely to ignore, not so,
Yes.
available information, and also allow to be influenced by the FD, right?
Yeah.
So that she can earn the permanent contract. Colors. Done. Minimum 2 lines, maximum 3 lines. Have we been able to achieve that for all the points? Yes. Elizabeth, does it make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get another question. You guys attempt it here before leaving this call. So now I know at least ethics is covered, right? So you can follow the same what? Procedure. But it's okay. Let us finish up this one. Now they also asked us to do what? They asked us to provide actions, or what we call safeguards. We've identified opening remark, we have accounting treatment done, ethical principles done, threats done, then safeguards. Remember, what is important is for you to provide the safeguards that are practical. Are you getting me, students? Available safeguards. You don't have to write what you crammed. Based on what we've seen here, what should this lady do to ensure that she's safe? We agreed that with the safeguards, we first discuss internal what? Internal safeguards from our discussions in class. And with these internal safeguards is you first talk to the person, right? Talk to who? Talk to the person. If they refuse, move on to the what? Move on to the supervisor. By this case, we can talk to non-executive what? Non-executive directors. Because for them, they are assumed to be independent, not so? If this has failed, if the internal has really failed, go to external. Not so? And this external is always talk to the external auditors. External who? Auditors. Talk to SCCA. You can also consider legal guidance. You get it, students? Do you get it? That is the order you must consider. If all this has refused, then the last resort is called resignation. Not so? The last one is resignation. So make sure that in your discussions you speak to this, but applicable to the scenario. Now, when it comes to the internal safeguards, you don't have to write so many safeguards. When you look at this, with the first issue we raised, who has told the board not to consider going concern? No, who has told Miss Hayes not to consider going concern? Isn't it the board?
Yes.
So do you expect, let me see, under pressure from FD? Okay, before that, let us first look at this. So can't we tell Miss Higgs, okay, Miss S should consider discussing the requirements of the accounting standards on disclosure of what? On disclosure of the going concern. However, because you see, you can't go to the board by just telling them what the standard requires, not so. You have to first get enough information, right? However, she should do what? She should first assess the available factors to ensure that the discussions with the board are based on what? On facts and circumstances of the entity. What's the name of the entity? Do we have it? Of Byfloat, eh? Of Byfloat. Lillian, does it make sense?
Yes.
Now, which other issue requires her to talk to someone? The one that we've identified. You see, there's this pressure from who? Under pressure from?
The FD.
From the FD. She has prepared what? Optimistic analysis, not so?
Yes.
So don't you think she needs to talk to the FD?
Yes.
So we can say, regarding the analysis, okay, since it has not yet been, you see this statement here? It is very important. Don't you think so? Since it has not yet been sent to the bank, okay, Miss Hayes should consider the available recent press reports and adjust the assumptions made when preparing the optimistic analysis. These should be discussed with the FD. Students, is this theoretical? Am I picking it from my head, or I'm getting them from the scenario?
We're getting them from the scenario.
That is the requirement. If you do that, you get the marks. But if you cram your answers, you just come and write, you not get a single mark. Which other issue? I think those are two. Do we have another issue that needs internal discussions? Okay, I can stop that. I talk about external. In fact, even internal, which is non-executive directors, right? But again, remember, if you go to the board, the board is composed of who? The NEDs, not so? So if you give a safeguard of her going to the non-executive directors, then it won't make sense. Unless those are not part of what? Of the board. Miss Hayes, Miss Hayes should consider discussing the above issues with non-executive executive, non-executive, directors who are not part of the board, committee, subjecting her to the intimidation threat. However, if no response is obtained, she should approach the SCCA or legal counsel for guidance. As last resort, not to compromise her, because there's also what we call professional behavior, not to compromise her career and to protect the image of the profession, she can consider resignation. Elizabeth, are my responses theoretical or they are practical? They are from the scenario.
They're from the scenario.
It doesn't even hurt for you to do that, so that your answer looks smart. Lillian,
Yes.
have you been able to pick something from this discussion?
Yes. I have a question on the actions.
Yes.
I thought maybe when you give the threats, like up how we have done, the action has to be the last one on each point.
That is
I
also
thought
fine.
you. Oh.
That is also fine, eh? For you can do this. You can do this. You say for this one, the first one, you put your threat, not so?
Yes.
Then for this one, it was for analysis, yeah? You can put it where? Where's the analysis? It was on objectivity, not so?
Yes.
You come and put it there. Then this one is just overall. And there's also discussing the directors. Now this one is going to be overall, because you won't tell for every point you put discuss with directors, discuss with this, you get? It won't make sense. But for an easy flow of your answers, this is advisable. Because you might end up writing so many of safeguards and you have no principles or threats. So better you follow this, eh?
Actually, we can even end up putting them in the wrong place.
You might end up saying that you discuss with the board and then you talk about issues that are with FD. So to avoid that issue, to avoid that, just try to flow like this, eh? Okay. I'm going to give you extra 30 minutes. I know we are not tired because we just started. I feel like I've just started. I'm going to give you extra 30 minutes.